Welcome, guys, to another episode of Disasters. This episode, I wanted to talk about Stranger Things. So, if you haven't seen Stranger Things at all, like the new season or even like the earlier seasons yet, and you're still catching up, don't watch this. Go watch that and then come back to this. But season 5, okay, season 5, there's 8 episodes, and I've heard a bunch of people say, oh, there's gonna be 9 episodes and it's going to release January 7th, and it's going to keep going, and it's going to be fantastic. And I really hope that they're right, but I don't think that they are. I think Stranger Things is over. I think nothing ever is going to happen again with it. Maybe a spin-off show is what I was thinking. They kind of set it up that way, but in general, no, I don't think that there's going to be a ninth episode. But I hope there is. I do hope there is. But the episodes, I believe 1 through 5, released first, and I enjoyed them to a degree. It seemed like the writing was really weird, like different than all the other seasons, and they kind of been doing that um with every season that drops. Like they're all a little bit different. But this it felt weak. Just everything felt weak. Like I believe season 1 through 5 could have been summed up in one episode, a singular episode. And I genuinely think that they did not need to go with 5 episodes for it. And besides that, the humor was very like Disney Channel type humor. Now this is coming from somebody who's like not really watched anything about other people's opinions. I mean, I've heard other people's opinions very shortly. This is just my opinion. It's like the humor. Dead. You can't hit any of the shots. I'm sorry. Oh, we started. Okay. The Hypixel's been very laggy today. But the humor was very like Disney Channel type. I didn't really like that at all because it hasn't really been before. Like in the other seasons, it's been very like characters were actually really funny. Um, Especially when they introduce new characters, they have their own little thing that they made them funny. But I think they tried a little bit too hard with the Disney Channel humor. And I don't want to like rip on Stranger Things this entire video because I did enjoy it. Like I think the special effects in the final season, specifically the last episode, were really good. I think the special effects were great, and I think the action was good. I think in general the acting was good. It's just every now and then it'd be like, if you want him, you have to go through me, and then there would be like stuff like that was said that was kind of like it's supposed to be like a horror, like scary actiony movie. It didn't really fit, but that's kind of just my gripes with it. I think for 9 years it should have been a little more twisty and a little more things that happened with it, because it felt like very straight, like a straight line. Like the kids hopped in the vehicle and they went to the upside down. They climbed the tower. They went up. They killed the main bad guy, and everyone lived happily ever after. Which is fine, except again, my opinion, it doesn't feel like everyone lived happily ever after at the end. It felt like everyone was unhappy. Like generally everyone, like they might have had like maybe a job they wanted, but besides that, like everyone was unhappy. So it felt like, yeah, it was kind of a happy ending, but nobody was happy, if that makes any sense. So that's just something I've noticed. I know everyone was saying, "Oh yeah, they were all happy. They were all happy." Nobody really was. Um, I do like how they left Eleven's death up to interpretation. Oh, have fun. Gold. But I do like how they left Eleven's death up to interpretation. I thought that was very clever. Because, you know, she could be alive or she could be gone. It's left up to us to theorize about. I really did enjoy that. Oh, I have to get blind cover now. I just have to sit here and pray that a TNT doesn't fall on my face. This is peak gameplay, guys. Peak gameplay. I guess I can talk while I'm sitting here. Eleven's death, or maybe she didn't die, was very clever. I didn't like that. Ooh, I'm gonna die. Murray. I love Murray. He's my all-time favorite character. When he threw that bomb at that helicopter, that was so awesome to watch. If a bomb doesn't land on me, and speaking of bombs, if a bomb doesn't land on me in 15 seconds, I'm good. A lot of people were complaining about, you know, no one really died except 11, kind of. And, you know, I mean, I could see why you would think that way. I personally don't want people to die, but I do understand why sometimes, you know, certain things happen in the story and it just feels like it's, you know, the time. But this red light, green light, man. But it really felt like they were pushing for that to happen in when Jonathan and Nancy were getting like that, whatever liquid was filling that room they were in. Also, when Steve fell off the cliff, or not the cliff, the tower that they all were on, and he got caught last minute by Jonathan, that seemed like that should have been the time, and that would have been more incentive for, you know, them to want to, you know, defeat the villain. Like, this is for Steve, you know what I mean? And Eddie. This is for Steve and Eddie, you know. Like, stuff like that would have made the story have a little more spice to it, I think. But obviously, I'm glad that Steve lived because he's been my favorite character since season 2. Season 1, I don't think anybody really liked him who was a normal person. He was kind of a jerk, to say the least. But he really did redeem himself in the later seasons, especially, you know, going back into that house, protecting Nancy and Jonathan from the Demogorgon. But he's I might make a whole another video talking about Steve, but he's always been my favorite character. And I've really liked this show. Speaking of like where I was when I first, you know, was introduced to this show, I always saw it like around because I had Netflix, but I never like actually watched the show. I would always like see it in passing and be like, "Oh yeah, what's this?" I didn't really care, and I just moved on. I got the flu one day. This was like right before COVID happened. I think it was either right before COVID happened or right after it happened, and I was homesick. But anyways, I was homesick around that time that it was happening, and I couldn't do anything for like a week. I was sick for about a week, and I was so bored, and I saw it again. I had nothing to do, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a shot. So I gave it a shot, and I was immediately hooked on it, and I fell in love with it. I finished, I think that was when it was season 1 through 3. Oh boy. That was when they only had seasons 1 through 3 up. And I believe that was 5 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 5 years ago. And so oh, jumping is disabled. That's stupid. And so I watched it, and I waited in anticipation for the fourth one. And once the fourth one was released, I watched it, and I got my family to watch Stranger Things. I got my family hooked on it, and then I waited in anticipation for season 5. Um, And I really 4 was good. There's 2 episodes I don't like in the whole series. One is when 11 ran away to be with the other superpowered kids, I guess. That I understand why that episode had to happen. That episode had to happen, but I don't understand why it had to be so boring. Like ooh, when I go back and I watch Stranger Things, like rewatch it, I've rewatched it a lot. I always skip that episode. It's so stale. That's really the only episode besides the other one, which is when Elle was training with Dr. Brenner. Now ooh, it's not like I don't like the character Elle. I do. I think she's a great character. Um, but like those 2 episodes, which I believe that episode was in season 4. She's trying to get her powers back. She doesn't have powers. She's training with Dr. Brenner to get them back. The whole episode was uncomfortable to me and very. It was very strange and boring. Not much going on. It's like a drama almost. And I don't really think they ever cut to anyone else, like any other characters. Then which was also annoying because like if you're bored with that you can just stick around for like what the other characters are doing. That wasn't the case, at least from what I remember, especially with the what's going on here. How many the cracks is that? Oh great, that's not really what I remember. I just remember being very oh, I'm gonna die in here, aren't I? Give me a life raft, please, somebody. Oh wait, no, I'm good. I thought I was gonna take damage in water. But yeah, very stale, very boring. Those are the only 2 episodes I don't like. Every other episode is very good, very well written, very well directed. The acting's very good. Like I no complaints at all. Those are the only 2 episodes. And in the big series like this, like there's bound to be some episodes you don't like. It's just how you're not gonna like every episode of every show. I'm sure there's some shows that you love that you don't like. I know there's some episodes of, I mean, even when I was a kid, SpongeBob that I didn't enjoy watching again. I enjoyed watching it one time and that was it. That's just how it is. And there's nothing bad about it. Just how people are. We like different things. Okay, but as I was saying, season 5 to me felt really rushed and could have 100% been better. I know people are saying the show should have ended on season 3. The show should have ended on season 2. I can't jump. And what have you. I don't think so. I'm happy it went on this long. I'm very happy with season 5 for well, I'm happy with season 3, season 4. I think they were good. Season 5, I feel like there's just something missing. Like there's a little bit of like that magic missing. I feel like when the actors were acting, that it wasn't hidden. I feel like when certain scenes were happening, it just wasn't hitting, and it could be the result of ourselves if we think about it. It could be because we know that it's ending, and we have really high expectations. And I think Endgame kind of pushed our expectations a little too far with certain things, because after Endgame, that was what I don't even know how many years of build up for that. Like that was peak, and it the storytelling. Oh no, I wasn't supposed to. The storytelling, the action, everyone coming together, all that build up for all those years. I don't know anyone I don't know anyone who didn't like it. Game. Either they like loved it or they like they were okay with it. So, they were like okay with it, but nobody didn't like it. Not that I know of. I loved it. I love it. I have literally nothing bad to say about the game. I've watched it a bunch. I've watched certain scenes a bunch. It's such a good movie that I think was so good that we now think every ending series of every every game needs, or every ending series of every show or movie. Oh wait, I might be dead here actually. Needs to be like that, which is kind of it's kind of unrealistic because Marvel is just different than everything else. Unfortunately, not really. Unfortunately, it just is. But I mean, that's what I mean. I even expected a little bit of like an end game type of thing to happen in Stranger Things, like everyone coming together, everyone fighting together, everyone doing things together. I kind of expected that to be the case myself, and it wasn't, and I was disappointed that it wasn't. But I also heard, now this is just some things I've heard. I don't know how much truth is behind this. That the Duffer Brothers were focused on another project while Stranger Things was happening. So it's very possible that they kind of just rushed Stranger Things to get on to the next project. I mean, it has been 9 years since the first season released. Oh, okay. I mean, it has been 9 years since the season released, and I understand not wanting to, continue things and stuff. But I think at least for the finale, it should have been done better. That's just generally what I think. Now, I was just giving some of my opinions on the whole thing. I don't really think any of one's opinion is right over the other. I mean, I to kind of summarize everything, I did enjoy Stranger Things. I think it's such a great show with a great concept, with great writing, great casting, great characters. The special effects have been good. No complaints about the special effects. I loved it. I loved it. I did like season 5 the least, I will say, but I'm glad that at least things were wrapped up and a lot of things were left up to our interpretation. I think that's a very good way to write things because that keeps it alive for a little bit longer, uh, and people don't immediately, get bored and stop thinking about it. Start thinking about it after. So I think what they did was good. I do. Um, I do have a little complaints about things, but I think the good outweighs the bad in my opinion. Like I said, you can have your opinion, you cannot like it, and I would love to hear about everyone else's opinions in the comments. So please tell me your opinions on season 4, or I'm sorry, season 5 in the comments, or any season really. But I kind of want to hear about specifically the ending because there's a lot of pressure on everybody to make a really good ending. Um, and that that might have contributed to that might have contributed to uh, it being not as good as the other seasons. Um, like I said, my only wish. Ooh, okay. I lagged a lot there. I don't know if that you guys could see that on your end, but when that dragon hit me, it was like a slideshow. I'll have to go back and watch that. But I wish season 5 would have had more twists. I wish they would have taken a little more risks with what was happening. But I've always been the type of person to not really like criticizing things because I love watching like shows and movies just to watch them. I don't really think about like in-depth like plots and like character arcs and all that fun stuff. I always just am like, oh man, this movie's so cool. Oh, this person's doing this. That's cool. I guess I've never really thought about it like super deep when it comes to watching shows and movies. But I kind of did think about this a little deep because I've been so invested in this for so long. I've been like thinking about stuff like how's this gonna end? What are they gonna do? And I'm just like, oh, they're gonna do this. They're gonna do something crazy, and then it's the most simple ending you have ever seen in your entire life, and it's a little bit of a disappointment. But it does feel sad that it ended because like with my story of how like I originally, how did I take damage? Okay, my story of how I originally, started watching Stranger Things, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other... Am I stuck here? Okay, no, I'm sure there's a bunch of other, people with different stories about, like, the first episode of watching Stranger Things. Why did I start watching it initially? My friend put me onto it, uh, what other stories that there are out there about Stranger Things. And, there have been a lot of things that happened between the season 1 and season 5 in our own lives. So while we're thinking about Stranger Things, we're living our lives. Bad things are happening, good things are happening. We kind of become connected because it has been going on for so long. We've become connected to the characters, the story, um, just because we experience life while we're watching Stranger Things. And different, I mean, that can apply to any show, really. Um, oh, it's really close. But I think, oh, what was that, sir? I think I'm sad, but I'm also glad that it ended because it has been going on for so long. Um, the actors deserve a break, but also I think it was time for it to end. And maybe they could have written season 4 in such a way that it could have ended there. Maybe they could have. But I'm glad we got these extra, not, I'm sorry, 8 episodes that we get to watch and enjoy now. Even if it is kind of eh. But, I, in summary, I enjoyed it. Not my favorite. Could have been better. But, I mean, I'm glad that we got to experience it. And I'm glad that so many got to experience it with, friends and family, too. It was such a good show. Such a good show. And I hope, what I really want to see... Oh. There was nobody in the lobby when I started this, so I'm going to finish the rest of this video here. What I really want to see is more, shows and movies like this. More shows and movies that are, like, scary and, like, action-y too, with really good writing, that, takes its time and has a really good story like this. I would pay to watch another show like this. Because right now, I don't have any streaming services. I have none. Because there's nothing worthwhile to watch. But Stranger Things was an incentive for a lot of people to get Netflix. And I feel like after it's ended, how many people are going to cancel Netflix now that Stranger Things is gone? Probably a lot. I know for me that's the case with some things like that. Like, I only watch certain things. I only get subscriptions for certain shows and certain movies that I want to watch, and after they're done or after I watch them all, there's not much of a point to keep it around. I'm just wasting money. Um, but I would definitely get Netflix if there was another show like Stranger Things that popped up. I'm not talking about a spin-off, and although I think that would be kind of cool. I'm talking about like another something else creative, like similar, with its own world and its own things. But I am excited to see if January 7th, if that theory is right. I don't think it is, but it would be very cool to see. But anyways, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments about it. Uh, you know, I'm open to anything. Just so I want to hear your thoughts. But that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more disasters, let me know. If there's another game you want me to try, let me know. Well, anyways, see ya.